Hello traders, welcome to another start of the week. We're going to break down some charts and see what opportunities can be spotted going in. So to start things off, we're going to look at USD CAD, which is the first video. The first video I ever made was regarding this big short on USD CAD. So I just want to continue updating that until it plays out. So off the bat, we have, as discussed in the first video, we had the break that occurred down. Let's get the dot out. We had a break that occurred down below 326, which was good enough for us to say it's time to keep going lower. One of the first things I did say is that I don't necessarily expect it to just continue in a straight angle all the way down to 1.29. What we can see now is it has pulled back at the third TP. If you go back to our last video, we did call it out to tap 1.315 as a third take profit. Now at that level, we did see the market pull back and push up. I did actually end up trading it long. If you go back to our last London session live stream, trading it long. However, we're back in my favorite region to actually trade it. It's around 1.328, 1.326 regions. Now I had this arrow kind of drawn out from the weekend. Didn't necessarily expect a 60 pip gap. However, there was a drone attack in Saudi Arabia on some oil fields, which has restricted them by about half of their oil. So that did cause a gap in the market. So on the daily time frame, everything does look bearish. I do want to see how this gap kind of let the market sit a little and see how this gap kind of settles. Maybe it can get filled. But the first thing on H4 I can definitely take note of is that we had a trend change, right? So we did have the market in some kind of uptrend going up, and we definitely had a trend change. So right now I'm expecting the trend to continue lower. I personally haven't seen any signal to re-enter. I did see a chance to just enter at 1.328. However, I didn't expect mark the gap 60 pips. So for now, everything remains. We're going low into 1.29. Next, I do think we probably should go into about 1.31. However, I'm going to have to wait for some kind of signal to actually re-enter this market and take it down. So everything remains the same with dollar CAD. Other than that, across the board, we have GBP AUD, which I think is going long. GBP AUD is going long. We're right now at some kind of resistance. If you just look left, all this area of exhaustion at around 1.82, we're at some kind of resistance. So we may actually encounter some kind of pullback on GA. We may encounter some kind of pullback on the low time frame. So if we just go to H4, we are slowing down a bit. So hopefully 1.82 holds, because if you just look left, we do have a lot of resistance at this region. So once 1.82 holds, we should pull back, and anywhere at or beyond 1.811 I'll be willing to buy. My favorite region to buy is anywhere in this gray region would be my favorite region to buy. But if we do even get below that, it's still valid for a buy. So what we can see now on GBP AUD is potentially some kind of scenario like this. 1.825 with my first upside TP, and after that I wouldn't be mad if we made it up to 835 back at these highs. Kind of take out these highs and move the supply of money around a bit, fill some stop some people out, fill some orders, and get stuff like that going on. So 1.825, 1.835 easily attainable for GBP AUD. Next up, AUD USD. So Aussie, we did call it long in our, I think, the first video. We took it up to 0.6875. However, now what I see happening on Aussie is some kind of slowdown at this level. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days thus far. For 5 days, we haven't been able to make it past 0.6875. So that to me is suggesting that we're definitely potentially gonna have a nice reaction from 6875, either a break or bounce. But because of how many days we've actually failed to take it out, more than likely a bounce. What I'm gonna need, on AU for validating this bounce is I have this kind of counter trend line here, and I do see a 3 drive. As you can see, 1 drive, 2 drive, and 3 drives into the highs. I don't necessarily expect the market to make it past these highs before dropping, because as I definitely do see where a lot of stops could have been here and here, and the market, they definitely liquidated those stops, so I don't think they would want to push it much higher. Market makers would push it much higher. But this gray region here that I have at around 6865, if we can get the H4 closure below 6865, AUD USD will go low, in my opinion. I would definitely short and put my take profit at around 68200. And once we make it down to around 685, I would definitely break even my trade and take about 25% of my profits off the table at that point. So for AUD USD to go short, I need break of the gray region, retest. Down here, I'd be taking about 25% of my profits and putting my stop loss at break even, and then trying to let it run to around 682. So AUD USD and USD JPY. I see this thing going short, definitely going short. I had this P&L drawn out. Everything is perfectly fine for UJ to go short once we got below that gray region. I think for UJ, our next area of interest to the downside is easily gonna be 107.23 or 107.2 areas. So UJ is fine. And if I just readjust this trend line here, boom, retest nicely. We may consolidate a bit around the area just because it is a decent gap in the market, but 107.25 should come through pretty soon on USD JPY. And right now, those are the only trades I have solid criteria for: GBP AUD, AUD USD, USD JPY, and USD CAD. So hope you guys enjoyed this week's video, and cheers. Have a good week.